Hi there, my name's Paul, and this episode is part of our series called Glimpses of Jesus. We're on a journey through the Old Testament, examining the main events and seeing how they point us to Jesus and salvation in Him. We're in 2 Kings 4. Elijah's gone, and Elisha is now God's prophet in the northern kingdom of Israel. He's performing miracles. But what do they mean? You wake up in the morning, you look at your phone. It's got the vital data for the day, the weather, the news headlines. You go downstairs and put the kettle on. You make a coffee and listen to a podcast. You're ready and inspired to take on the day. You go to work and encounter a problem. No worries. Check on Google or ask ChatGPT. Any health issues, book an appointment at the doctor's. Get the vaccinations. Go for the tests. The day's ending. Why not unwind with a box set on your tablet or stream some peaceful music? This is the world we live in, and it's a world where it's easy to think we don't need God. But is that true? 2 Kings 4 contains a collection of miracles. They prove Elisha is God's prophet, but they do more than that. Each one reminds us that God alone is the real source of life and blessing. Technology is helpful. People can make a difference in our lives, but only God is the true source of life. That's one reason why Jesus and the cross matter so much, because He's the only way we can know God and experience this life. 2 Kings 4 begins as God helps a poor woman. Verse 1. One of the wives of the sons of the prophets cried out to Elisha, "Your servant, my husband, has died. You know that your servant feared the Lord. Now the creditor is coming to take my 2 children as his slaves." This woman's in a dire situation, in debt and the loans being called in. She's got nothing. What next? Elisha asked her, "What can I do for you?" Elisha's question is important. God cares for this woman, enough to do something about her situation. The woman has some oil. Elisha tells her to borrow as many empty containers as she can get her hands on. She's to pour oil from her oil jar into the containers. As she does, the oil just keeps flowing till every container is full. Like a water feature that just keeps running. The oil just doesn't stop. What next? Verse 7. She went and told the man of God, and he said, "Go, sell the oil and pay your debt. You and your sons can live on the rest." That's incredible. Look at God's provision. Look at His care. Not just enough to pay her debts, but enough to support her way into the future. Do we need God today? Technology brings wealth for those who design it and society as a whole. But does technology care? It can be programmed to do caring things, but is that the same? AI can learn caring behaviour, but does that count? And what about people? People care, that's true. We're all made in God's image, and so we reflect His character. Yet sin has muddied the waters of that reflection. History is full of acts of kindness, but also littered with acts of selfishness and greed. Our care has limits. But God's different, and we see that clearest at the cross. At the end of Galatians 2:20, Paul gives a remarkable description of Jesus, the Son of God who loved me and gave Himself for me. That's the wonder of the gospel message. A God who cares so much that He would pay the ultimate price so we could be free and have life in Him. Do you need someone who really cares and will always care? Then lean on God. So God helps a poor woman. That's the first account. In the second, He raises a dead boy. Here's verse 8. One day, Elisha went to Shunem. A prominent woman who lived there persuaded him to eat some food. So whenever he passed by, he stopped there to eat. This woman recognizes Elisha as a man of God and provides hospitality when he's in the area. And this goes beyond food. She and her husband build an extension, a room on the roof, for Elisha to use. Elisha's touched by her kindness and gives her a message from God. Verse 16. Elisha said, "At this time next year, you will have a son in your arms." Then she said, "No, my lord. Man of God, do not lie to your servant." Her response is packed with emotion. She hasn't been able to have children. It's painful for her. And she doesn't want her hopes to be raised, just to have them dashed. But these aren't just words. They're the words of God. The next year, she has a son. There's rejoicing in Schumann, but then tragedy strikes. Verses 18 and 19. The child grew and one day went out to his father and the harvesters. Suddenly he complained to his father, "My head, my head." His father told his servants, "Carry him to his mother." It's harvest time. Father and son are out in the field, and then the boy's head begins to hurt. He needs rest, but the pain doesn't subside. The boy dies in his mother's arms. Immediately, the woman takes her son and puts him on Elisha's bed. She sets off to find Elisha and tells him what happened. Elisha comes to the house. He prays. He lays on top of the boy, and the boy's body starts to get warm. He paces around. The boy sneezes 7 times and then opens his eyes. He's alive. Verse 36. Elisha called Gehazi and said, "Call the Shunammite woman." He called her and she came. Then Elisha said, "Pick up your son." Wow, what a miracle. What a God. Look, do we need God today? Technology is amazing. It can wash the dishes. It can make companies more efficient. It can paint pictures. It can even write music. Using technology, we've been able to find cures for countless diseases. Yet death still proves to be an impenetrable barrier. But not to God. He raises the boy to life. And what about spiritual death? That's the reality of a sinful heart in rebellion and separation from God, and eyes that are blind to the truths of Jesus. It's the reality of standing condemned in our sin before God and destined for eternity in hell. Technology can't touch that. Only God can bring spiritual life. Or what about quality of life? A full life packed with joy and peace. Over the years, people have invented all kinds of things to help us. Attempts have been made to solve the big issues that plague us: poverty, mental health, division, anger, discrimination, abuse, violence. These things make a difference. We do see some change, but the problems are still with us in abundance. The world promises a paradise that refuses to materialize. Who can deliver on the promise of life? God. In Revelation 21:4, we get a view of the eternal kingdom of Christ, life after his return in the new heavens and new earth. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. Death will be no more. Grief, crying, and pain will be no more, because the previous things have passed away. This is life for those who trust in him today. Life with God. Life with every angst and problem dealt with. Do you need someone who can do the impossible? Someone who can step into any situation and turn it on its head? Then lean on God. So a poor woman is helped, and a boy is raised from the dead. Then 2 connected miracles where God feeds the hungry. Verse 38. When Elisha returned to Gilgal, there was a famine in the land. The nation's suffering, food scarce, and people are starving. Elisha meets up with the sons of the prophets, and they make a stew. They get up and search the fields for ingredients. Someone brings back some wild gourds growing on a wild vine. They look good, but it's a deadly mistake. Verse 40. They served some for the men to eat, but when they ate the stew, they cried out, "There's death in the pot, man of God!" And they were unable to eat it. This is more than just tipping in too much garlic powder. It tastes of death. What does Elisha do? Verse 41. Then Elisha said, "Get some flour." He threw it into the pot and said, "Serve it for the people to eat." And there was nothing bad in the pot. The stew's saved. The people fed. How? It's more than flour. It's God. He steps in and removes the poison. God provides for their needs. Next, a man comes from Baal-Shalisha with 20 small loaves of barley bread. Elisha tells his servants to take the bread and divide it among the people. The servant is confused. Verse 43. But Elisha's attendant asked, "What? Am I to set this before 100 men? Really? There's no way this is enough. 20 rolls? That's it? You know people are going hungry." But Elisha insists. "Give it to the people to eat," Elisha said, "for this is what the Lord says. They will eat, and they will have some left over." So he set it before them, and as the Lord had promised, they ate and had some left over. A few hundred years later, Jesus stands in front of a crowd of 5,000 men, plus women and children. He tells his disciples to divide 5 small loaves and 2 fish, and give it to the people to eat. They're confused. What? How? The people are fed, and there's plenty left over. God provides for their needs. Do we need God? Technology helps to meet our needs. It maximizes production and brings down cost. But can we always rely on it? Can we guarantee that it will always come through? Our farming is still weather dependent, and while technology is getting better at predicting the weather, it can't run it. As much as we want to claim that we're self-sufficient, we aren't. We can't create out of nothing, and our supplies, our provision rely on forces and events we cannot control. Yet God's different. He has no limits and is always able to provide for all our needs. Look at Philippians 4 and verse 19. "And my God will supply all your needs according to his riches in glory in Christ Jesus." There's a confidence here as Paul writes to Christians in Philippi. God can and will give them everything they need. Do you need someone you can rely on? Always, in any situation. Then lean on God. Where are you leaning today? Yes, the world's changed since Elisha's day. 2,800 years is a long time. Yet our need of God is the same as it's always been. We need his care and his kindness. We won't get the same assurance anywhere else. We need his power and his ability. The world is too dangerous, and death is too big for us or anyone else to take on. And we need his resources. Only he can guarantee everything we need. But how can we know such a God? The Bible tells us that we're separated from him because of our sin and rebellion. So how can we come? One answer: Jesus. Jesus, who dealt with our sin on the cross and rose so that we could have life in him. If we come to Jesus, we enter into a covenant relationship with God, a covenant where he promises to forgive us, to be with us, to protect us, to guide us, and to bring us to an incredible eternity with him. So are you trusting God today? Look, is there any reason, any sensible reason, why we should lean on anything or anyone else?